Hello, and welcome to KRZY News, Weather and Sports. We are here to tell you all about the crazy news of today. I'm Austin Holloway. Here's what's happening on this beautiful day in Bolivar. Going into local news, we're quite frankly glad they're on top of this. Springfield, Missouri. Officers responded to the call at 700 block of West Whiteside Street on December 3rd. When officers arrived, they found Laverne W.D. Everett, 44, and Christina M. Lopez, 45, dead from gunshot wounds. The police recently said that Everett shot Lopez, then shot himself, killing the both of them. This unfortunate event marks the 17th homicide case of 2022. Moving on to statewide news, changes keep happening in Missouri. Amendment 3 is added to the Missouri Constitution on Thursday, following closely behind the elections. The amendment legalizes recreational adult use marijuana and expunges some nonviolent marijuana-related offenses. And the entirety of the amendment will include removing prohibitions on purchasing, possessing, consuming, delivering, manufacturing, and selling marijuana for personal use for adults over the age of 21. Allow people with certain marijuana-related nonviolent offenses to petition for release after incarceration for parole and prohibition and have records cleared. And impose a 6% tax on the retail price of marijuana to benefit various programs. However, Missourians won't be impacted by the majority of its legislation until next year. At the earliest, recreational marijuana will be available for purchase in February. Moving into nationwide news, investigations are steaming along. Omaha, Nebraska, major freight railroads are facing pressure to add sick days for their workers from a new fund. An influential investment group says some of its members are now pushing the measure that Congress declined to as a part of the contracts they imposed last week to avert potentially devastating nationwide rail strike. The Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility said that Monday that two investment managers it works with to help promote social change at companies has filed proposals at Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern Railroads to give shareholders a vote to whether rail workers should get paid sick leave. The ICCR represents 300 members with over $4 trillion in assets. The lack of paid sick time in the industry became a major sticking point this fall in contract between the railroads and their 12 unions. President Joe Biden signed a bill Friday that forces railroad workers to accept those deals that were negotiated back in September and prohibits them from going on strike. Moving on to the weather. Looking into today's weather, it's expected to be very cloudy, with the high being 50 and the low being that of 47. Now, looking into tomorrow's weather, the high is going up to a 57, and the low is going down to a 40. Expect rain as well. Now, let's look at our favorite part of the week, the weekend. Saturday expected to be very rainy, but the highs are going to be that of 54 and the low of being 35. And with Sunday, it's expected to be very cloudy, so make sure to dress warm and carry an umbrella. But most importantly, stay tuned to your KRZY weather channel. Now, into sports news. Virginia football players who allegedly would have expired after the season will have an opportunity to play one more year. School athlete director Carla Williams confirmed that Charlottesville Daily Post. The NCAA allowance of additional eligibility comes after the shooting of 3 Virginia football players. Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Dacene Perry were killed in the shooting on November 14th, which took place on the bus that had transported students on a field trip to Washington, D.C., according to local authorities. Now, let's take a look at possibly the most interesting story of today. Portland, Oregon. Morgan Ranner and her 22-year-old horse named Indo the Blind, who had never had eyes, broke 3 Guinness World Records. Highest free jump by a blind horse, 106 centimeters. Most flying changes by a horse in 1 minute, 39. And fastest time for a blind horse to weave 5 poles, 6.93 seconds. Now, this has been your KRZY News, outlet complete with weather and sports. This is Austin Holloway signing off with the craziest news around.